It's a tough one. I have to go with Ramy only because he's Mr. Olympia, and Nasser never won it, even though he probably should have won it in '97. I think Ramy had a better back than Nasser. Nasser probably got harder than Ramy, but I think overall, physique-wise, I think Ramy's probably a more freakish, impressive bodybuilder. If they were both around today, I think Ramy would beat Nasser. So I have to go with Ramy. Once again, it's hard to bet against Mr. Olympia. And once again, Ramy's back is, especially when he first came around on the scene, it was, second to none and of the people competing. And Nasser always had problems with his back development. So it was wide, but it was like when he hit his back double, it wasn't quite as impressive. Ramy always had a really impressive, back double. Although in recent years, his back double seemed to have lost some of his lower lats. I don't know what that's from, but at their best, I think I got to go Ramy. Oh, that is because this Dave Palumbo guy just hates me because I have written bad things about him, and he will put me down. But if you want to take an IQ test, I know that I will crush Ramy because Ramy comes from the fishing village where they do not teach them very much. Nasser would turn it around completely on him. I love you, Ramy. I would pick Ramy even if I didn't believe it, just because Nasser was so negative and such a negative. No, I do think Ramy was the better bodybuilder.
But what you all just said right there, I mean, is that what Nasser is like, up above saying right now, watching the show?
Yes, he's probably loving the fact that I'm talking about him and even giving him bringing his name up. But Nasser and I had this like love-hate relationship. Like when we were together, it was like we were like friends. But I think Nasser didn't like me for whatever reason. I don't know. I think he didn't like the fact that I was big and got a lot of attention and made some money, and I wasn't an IFBB pro. So he thought I was beneath him, that kind of thing. But he wouldn't say that to my face because he liked to soak me for information. He would always ask me questions about PEDs and diet and all this stuff. He liked to. Nasser loved to talk bodybuilding. He was always trying to absorb, soak in new information so that he can utilize it in his bodybuilding. That's what a good bodybuilder does. It's not a person who says, "Oh, I know everything and I can't learn." He was always trying to learn and figure out new stuff. So in that respect, I respect him. And he was a very intelligent guy. So it was interesting to sit down with him and be able to have an intelligent conversation with him. Except, like I've said before, if you had if your girlfriend was there with you and you had to go to the bathroom, you better take her with you because Nasser would certainly be trying to give her his number or the room key to his hotel room. Oh, we love you, Nasser. We miss you. You left us too soon.
I'll throw in one more in the pantheon of uncrowned Mr. Olympias. Mm-hmm. Where would you place him?
It's tough because it's a tough. There's a very tough field of people that fit in there between Flex Wheeler, who never, Kevin Levrone. These are two guys that definitely, could have been Mr. Olympia. Flex was closer even than Levrone, especially when he was battling Ronnie all those years. I would say Nasser's in that top three, though. I'd put him up there. Only because 97 he probably should have won the Olympic. It was really close. I don't think anyone would have complained if Nasser would have won. If Dorian was not Mr. Olympia at the time, the reigning Olympia, right, Nasser would have won. So he probably was the closest. Ronnie and Flex in 98, a lot of people thought that, Flex won. I don't think he did because I thought Ronnie outconditioned him. So I thought that was a well-deserved victory for Ronnie. But Flex certainly had a Mr. Olympia physique. There's absolutely no doubt about that. It's just he was competing in an era where guys were just unbelievable. And he left the door open a few times when he shouldn't have. And had he not left the door open, he probably would have been Mr. Olympia. And, you know how it works. Once you win once, it's really hard to lose the title if you come back and look great. So once Ronnie won in 98, that was it. It derailed Flex's, but Flex would have to be number one. I would say maybe Nasser and Levrone are tied for number two.
Who told us the story about Nasser in 97 when he was announced second, or at a certain point he stormed off the stage, right?
I don't know if he did or not. I was there too, and I don't remember. But
somebody told us the story where he blatantly started saying, I was robbed of the Mr. Olympia title. Somebody told us that story.
I wouldldn't be surprised if it wasn't.
I'm gonna try to dig back to
Paul Dillette was mad at that show because Paul Dillette was fourth place, and then they took it away from him and gave him like fifth place or something like that. They tallied it up wrong or something like that. But Nasser was a cat. Who did I just have on the show recently was telling me great Nasser stories too? I forget.
I know who you're talking about. Was on an episode of Iron Rage, right?
Yeah, was it? Yeah. Who was telling me these great stories about Nasser?
Oh my God, this was only a few weeks ago too.
Sid's got an excuse. He hasn't eaten all day for Ramadan. I have no excuse other than the fact that I'm losing my mind.